Hello, this is Sarika. This is to serve as an introduction to the astral projection series, and I'm trying to, add variety to my YouTube channel. I'm using a stupid filter. Anyway, in the last big video that I did, I was saying someone had asked the question if you could make language of light activation to increase your ability to either astral project or lucid dream, or both, I guess. And I said, well, this is going to be a really complicated issue. There's all these things to consider. And then he responded back. He's like, I just meant something simple. Don't go through all that trouble. But I'm intrigued by this idea. And I know that a lot of you out there do experiment with astral projection and lucid dreaming. So what I'm going to do is make an entire series of language of light activations for astral projection and lucid dreaming, and the channeled information that happens as a result. I sat down today and, well, first let me just tell you my own experience and history with astral projection and lucid dreaming. I did cover this in the last video, so if you want to skip ahead, go right ahead. But if you're just watching this for the first time, then I will let you know what I know about this stuff. When I was like about 15, maybe 14 or 15 actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I started researching astral projection, or OBEs, out-of-body experiences, because I was raised without this concept fitting into my belief system structure. I was raised a very strict type of Christian, but one that doesn't believe in a soul. They don't believe in a physical, or not physical, the soul essence or whatever of a human being that is something which is seemingly separate from the physical body. They believe that the physical body is the soul and your consciousness, and that's it. And then when you die, you're dead. And so then when I would hear people having out-of-body experiences, and they're experiencing this, projected outside of themselves, or traveling or flying, and everything being, more real or lucid than everyday waking reality, I was intrigued and scared and unsure, skeptical, whatever. How could people be having these experiences if we don't have a soul, if something isn't physically separating from the body and doing its thing? So I began to do research, and I pretty much came to the conclusion that it was a mind trick that we hadn't fully investigated yet, and so I was I was determined to do it. So I set about trying to astral project for a long time, and I got pretty far for like a 15-year-old. I'm actually now thinking about it, I'm like, that was pretty impressive stuff. I would have like bolts of lightning come down like through into my third eye chakra, and like jolt me awake after a while. I would start having semi-lucid dreams, and then almost projections, quasi-projections, I guess I want to say, to where I would fall down onto the floor on the side of my bed, and I would just be this lifeless little curled up entity, and I couldn't get off of the floor because I didn't have enough energy to do it. And then pretty much stopped, and then after I stopped, as I was waking up spiritually in other ways, and purifying my body and energy systems in other ways, started having just weird dreams where I maybe had background noise where I was sleeping, and it would wake up my consciousness to a certain extent. Then I would still be mostly asleep down here, and then I would start to hear radio broadcasts in my head, and I would hear voices, and sometimes it would just be like a rush of voices, and then it would wake me up, and I'd be totally freaked out. And I would have, again, quasi-projections pretty frequently. And after a while, it became less like trying to separate from the body, and more just like having this experience of intense otherness and connection to all the information that's floating out in the ether out there. But then just recently, some synchronicities, some little coincidences, and some connections, networking things that have been going on recently have been making me question, like, well, I can do all these amazing things, and I'm happy where I am spiritually in my development and ascensionally, or whatever you want to call it. But I don't do the astral projection thing, And so I am intrigued by this concept once again, and I want to explore it more myself, and I want all of you guys who are out there to participate in this experiment, because I'm going to do what I do best, which is like language of light activations and bringing through these higher beings who may be able to assist all of us in either more dream recall, increased lucidity of those dreams, or hopefully full-on projections. I'm going to focus on projections, and actually the beings that I was talking to did focus on projections themselves. So here's what I got today. I just started what I'll do sometimes is I'll just open up, you know, and I'll have a question, and I'll focus it somewhere, and then I'll just let the question sit, and then I'll open up that antenna, and then whoever comes through to answer the question comes through to answer the question. Who came through to answer the question this time? What was the question, actually? I just asked for a being or a group of beings to help with astral projection, bolstering the third eye, second chakra. That's what I was considering would be most important to astral project, because you need a good amount of energy, I thought, stored up. And the places that I thought that energy would be stored would be the second chakra and the third eye chakra. It just seemed to correlate for some reason to my astral experiences. And then who showed up but Mab, Queen Mab. She's kind of awesome. And she wanted to remind us that it is very important to remain grounded in earth energy to be able to properly astral project. This wasn't really a concept I had thought much of, except the book that I have does talk a lot about astral projection, does talk a lot about drawing energy up from the earth. That was really interesting to me, especially as someone who is invested very fully in several energy healing modalities. I get my energy from other sources. Not from, I mean, obviously we all pull energy from the earth and from the sky and from the air and from water and whatever, and the food we eat and everything. But most of my energy sources, like the Akadwa, Diksha, Reiki, those are all quote-unquote, not quote-unquote, but you know, they're external energy sources. They're not of the physical body. They're not the physical earth energy. They're cosmic energy, or, you know, blessed, holy, whatever. The Akadwa specifically is more like a physical substance. And so I'm used to getting my energy from other places. Now, this concept of having the earth energy being very important and being grounded in the earth energy was sort of new to me. So Mab came through, and that's what she wanted to remind us about. And she said there is a point to this, meaning the earth energy, using the earth energy, and that the body must remain very grounded in earth energy to create the perfect conditions for astral projection. If the body is not comfortable and very grounded in the earth, mental, physical, and emotional energy will confuse the projection process. I will cool you down and draw out all energies that may confuse the projection process. I will relax you and root you deeply within the earth's center. And then I made some notes on it. This is a complex way of saying what was very simple to Mab. She said, or she doesn't like to use many words, and the feeling while channeling this message was basically, lie down in the earth's womb cradle and let me prepare you for this journey. Also, there seems to be some strange connection with the plant world. This is my own little side note here. And I mean, Mab, or Maiva, or whatever you want to call her, seems to have a lot to do with plant energy. And one of my spirit allies, Datura, for some reason in me used to induce quasi-astral projections and very lucid dreams. And I'm just seeing a connection between that plant energy, earth energy, and this phenomenon of astral projection, which I have no idea what the connection is for. Now this is the other part. After Mab, I was like, okay, well, who's going to help next? And I've never channeled a being like this before, but who presented himself, was this being called Tommy Yon. I don't know what, but that name popped into my head, okay? And I just made some notes that it was very third eye, crown centered, with extremely good vision. I feel like a being's essence, and they're sort of like, you know, their energy becomes my energy as I'm channeling them, and so I can feel the different parts of them, different aspects of them. And he had incredibly vivid vision. If that's, oh yeah. A lot of frontal lobe activity, keeping things forward. He had this Ashtar command-like quality, which to me means this cartoony hyper-realness that these beings have. It's almost like the way my face looks right now. It's this, you know, it's like this mask. It's extremely colorful. And there's this extreme, not about my face right now, because it's just a stupid filter, but there's this extreme precision about everything, and there's this brightness to it, to how these beings look. And this being also felt very excited to be perceiving things in the astral dimension. And he introduced himself, and he said, "The astral realm is my home and my playground. I am an ethereal being who has come to exist on the astral realm," which means he was born, so to speak, in the astral realm. In that sense, the astral realm is my home. There's a type of energy, this was, I thought, interesting, a type of energy that comes into your being while projecting. It is a semi-physical, vapor-like substance that allows for the natural transition from your third-dimensional point of reference to the astral point of reference. He liked using the term point of reference instead of, you know, projection or being in or existing or whatever. Or sight, or perception. He just liked the phrase point of reference. And this energy can be created or called into your body in many ways, but one of the easiest and best is a point on the surface of your skull, between the center of your skull, or the crown chakra area, and the brow chakra. So right here-ish. And it was sort of like this thing, and I could feel this small area, and it was just this like this gushy, vapory cloud. This is weirdest energy I'd ever felt. You know, it was like halfway between physical steam and chi, or something like that. You know, it's really hard to describe. It's this point on the surface of your skull, between the center of your skull, or the crown chakra area, and the brow chakra. Call it the high brow chakra. This area can act as a collector for this energy. And I asked if he would do a language of light activation for this purpose, and to collect this type of energy, to have this little point activate as a receptor for this type of energy and start to draw it down. And he said, "I already have," implying that, well, just calling into, not describing myself adequately today, not very eloquent, just calling up the fact that the astral dimension has a very strange atemporal nature. And so when something has happened, or something is going to happen, it's already happened, etc. Okay. This one was also a huge surprise to me. The next being that came forward to assist was Pele, and just completely centered in the solar plexus chakra. I was thinking, okay, you know, this is going to be like some being to help with the third eye, some being to help with the second chakra, and we're going to store up some energy and activate the third eye and then go for it. Well, I'm getting this group of beings who all of a sudden want to help with astral projection, who I had no idea would show up to the party, but they did. And the next one was Pele, completely centered in the solar plexus, and she's a very interesting spirit, and she was just very serious about this entire subject. You must be deeply committed to your intention and desire to burst forth into the astral realm. If you are not serious about actually getting there, all of your doubts and lazy attitudes will stop you. Your intent must be physically implanted into your solar plexus chakra, burning with a feverish pitch, so that there can be no mistake about where you are going, what is going to happen when you fall, or what is going to happen when you fall asleep. This activation is for one purpose only: to implant that intent into your solar plexus, namely, I must project into the astral realm. She was just completely adamant about that. That we really have to focus our intent, and I guess assuage our fears, or at least face up to our fears that we might have about projecting, and just deal with it. Just get over them and put your intent out there. Yes, I do want to have this experience. Otherwise, too many things get in the way. And so she's going to do an activation for that. The next being that came forth, and I didn't know how long this was going to go on until this last one, so I apologize for the length of this video again, because they're all so long, was my holy guardian angel, my Atman consciousness, that giant being that I will probably never know, and if I do, my body will probably be vaporized. And I was surprised at that, because I'm like, well, what are you stepping forward for? And then all of a sudden, I could sense all these other presences behind it, and it was like the same standard vibration, the same level of let's say on the same order as my holy guardian angel. And then I got the impression or the intuitive sense that it was everyone's holy guardian angel, or Atman consciousness, or daemon, or highest self, or whatever you want to call it. And they all seemed to be telling me, I'm reading now, that this is a very personal process, and each individual's highest self, angel, Atman, etc. is really overseeing the process of projection, and must therefore be invoked to called upon to achieve great success. So many voices in the background. He said, we are the collective Atman, just using a standard term, of all beings who choose to participate in your experiment. And I asked, what will you do in this What will you do in this activation? And he said, we bring everything together. We prepare the great interdimensional vehicle that keeps you focused in your intended form, your self-image while projecting. And we keep you surrounded in light as you move around, and we protect you from distraction, temptation, and potentially negative astral hitchhikers. There's a lot happening in the astral realm always, all at once, and it is easy to slip into another's reality and mistake it for your own. We prepare the vehicle, which is like a brightly shimmering silver-white egg that allows you to indulge whims and not get carried away. Very interesting energy coming through, and I just had this really clear picture in my head of what he was talking about. And I could see, like, myself as this little astral projection on the astral grid from far, way, way, way far away as I was doing this channeling. And I was surrounded in this just glistening silver white egg. And that's what the activation from one's holy guardian angel is going to be about. So that's what's going to happen, friends, and what I want you to do if you astral project, and I'm going to send this to some people in particular, yes, I mean you, try it out. This is obviously just the introduction, but I'm going to make these 4 videos, and they'll be as long as they are, and I'm just going to jump right into it and not give any introductions or any crap and nothing afterwards. I might have commentary videos posted later or something, but I'm just going to make just the language of light activations, maybe with a little, this is from Pele, this is from your holy guardian angel, whatever. And I want you to listen to them. I mean, like, maybe give each one a day, so 4 days or something like that, and listen to each one at least 3 times. Or if you want to go hardcore, you know, listen to one 3 times and then wait half an hour to an hour and then listen to the other one 3 times and then repeat that, you know, and until you feel like you're really absorbing these energies and really opening up to the energies that I'm helping to bring through from this group of higher beings that wants to help us all astral project, and see if it works. I mean, you know, a lot of you tell me how much you appreciate the energy that I do bring through, and I am very grateful and I appreciate that. But one of the problems that I have, I will admit, is that one of my videos, the pineal gland activation and third eye activation, has gotten the most hits, and I haven't spent that much time, you know, activating my own third eye. I mean, I can see things a lot. I can see a lot more than your average person could see, but you know, my third eye isn't fully open or anything. I don't even follow my own advice and watch these videos after I've made them. So I want to see if it works. I want to see if it helps. And again, intent is everything. the more you read about this stuff, this is probably the reason, the more you read about this stuff, the more energy you put into it, the more it's likely to happen. And that was always true with me. The more I was reading about astral projection, the more it would happen. Woo. And yeah, so I want you to tell me if it works. And we're going to participate in an experiment together. Okay? Signing off.